Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the new Sustainable You, sponsored by Yonkers Public Library at Crestwood Library. I want to thank Z Baird for giving me the opportunity to do this program in the first place. And I want to thank the NORC, Valerie Litt, and Friends of Crestwood Library for supporting me in these efforts, in these crazy concoctions I have. So today, that I'm sharing my screen, that title there, that's not really the title of today's talk, but it's one of my titles. So today is about having a green and clean summer. And the word green and sustainable and sustainability, these words get thrown around and they're supposed to represent this idea of being environmentally friendly. And so what does sustainable mean? So it means that to live your life in such a way with all the things that we have in our lives, our furniture, our clothes, our use of water, the food we eat, the food we buy, the places we go, the gasoline that we consume in our cars if we have gasoline-driven cars, are our lives lived in such a way that they can be sustaining, not for us, okay, because they are sustaining us for now, but whether they are sustainable for the earth, for our environment. Because, and the last time we got together, we saw those horrific pictures of the smoke, June 7th, I believe, June 7th, June 8th, and we have more. Every day, we have worse air quality. At 100, which it is today, and it was yesterday, it's considered unhealthy. So my question is, well, why would Canada, a place that's always cold, be burning down? And I think the nuanced answer is the chemistry of the earth and the chemistry of the atmosphere has changed. And it's changed due to largely human activity. The other is, you can also blame volcanoes. You can blame the temperature of the ocean, but again, I say that's due to human activity. And the sun has a lot to do with what our atmosphere is doing, but we have an ozone layer. They announced recently, good news, yay, the ozone layer has largely repaired itself, which is good, because without the ozone layer, we would be sunburned every day and we'd probably all have skin cancer. So this is grim. So what do we do? My solution is, in the small corner of the world that we occupy right now, I believe that we can make decisions on an everyday basis. We have something in the chat. David McLean has said, thanks, looking forward to the soap. But we have a few things on the screen, which I'll explain in a minute. So what my goal was, I would like everybody to try something different. Go back to bar soap. Don't buy any more, soaps that you pump. Start using bar lotion, skin lotion, bar shampoo, bar conditioner. And I know we got away from bars a long time ago, right? Ivory used to be the big thing back in whenever. I say we go back to the bars. Why? Because we're not buying bottles of shampoo, bottles of soaps and shampoos, which is why Yonkers Public Library purchased a big container of melt and pour soap. It's about 25 pounds. We're going to be using it up. Okay. I cut off a little chunk of it. This is called melt and pour soap. And when you melt it, of course, not on high, you can add things like You can add essential oils to scent it. And you can add things like calendula flowers. Why calendula flowers? Well, calendula is very good for itchy skin. They sell it in the store in a cream, calendula. And the cream contains essences and some things of, the calendula flower that are good for itchy skin, inflamed skin. It helps to bring inflammation down. Does it cure it? No, it does not cure it. None of this is curative. What it is a measure to stop using plastic, stop using soaps that have preservatives in them that are not good for your health. They're not good for your breathing. They're not good for your skin. So my solution was to come up with ways, and they're not difficult. If I can do it, anybody can do it, because I'm a disaster at making do-it-yourself crafts. You just ask my coworkers. Not good. Can't cut a straight line, but I can certainly heat up soap. So what we have on the left-hand side, if you're looking at the screen, the left-hand side are the soaps that I made for the Seed Library Bingo. Valerie, if you are still, look at Valerie, right on it. Valerie has one of the soaps. Can you show the bottom side closer? Down more, down more. Okay. In that soap that you're seeing, you see those little drops, those little spots that I put, thank you, Valerie. You can put it down. I put calendula blossoms in it. I use just the petals, because the blossom part, the center part of the calendula, it's kind of brown and dingy looking. And I know consumers will look at that and go, oh, that's dirty. It's not. It's a dried blossom, and you can put it in soap. It doesn't make soap dirty. See, that is a calendula, the center of a calendula. These are the petals. This is a dried calendula flower. So I crushed up some of the petals and put it in the soap. And the soap is a crystal soap base, not crystal as in, crystals. That's more of a chemical term. So the soap base is made from oatmeal and goat's milk, I think. If it's not goat's milk, it's one of the others. And what you can do, and what we've done, is we cut the pieces. I cut big chunks of it, and I melt them, and I put them in a little, mold. You can get these molds very cheaply. You can get them on Amazon, silicone mold. They can take heat up to 530 degrees. I think probably more. I don't heat up these things very much. The center picture is lotion. It's bar lotion. And I've given that out to some of you out there. And this bar lotion is made up of the 3 ingredients that I continually use in the things that I make. So that's made up of beeswax to give it some stiffness, but there's other reasons for the beeswax, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. And cocoa butter, which I don't have on the picture here. To the right, the picture on the right, I started heating up chunks of cocoa butter, and the little pellets are beeswax. And as these melt, because they're the ones that are the hardest, beeswax takes forever to melt on low. But cocoa butter melts pretty quickly. I don't usually put them together. I think I was just demonstrating something there. However, coconut oil, the solid kind, which can become liquid very easily, you put a chunk of that in there after the other two are melted, because coconut oil melts very quickly. Okay, we'll move on. Before I move on, does anyone have any questions? Okay, I'll move on. Okay, I probably have to do this way. So in order to reduce our carbon footprint. Oh, I see something in the chat. Wait a second, I got a question. How do you use the bar lotion? Angela has asked me, but ooh, I don't want to. Ah, ah. Okay, I've gone too far. Okay, how do you use bar lotion? How you use bar lotion, you take the bar and as if you were washing yourself, you rub it over your skin. Now, the last bar lotion I made was very melty. It was really soft. So you could break off a piece and use it like that on your arms, your legs. I've used it on my face in the winter. Can some of it clog your pores? At a certain age, it doesn't matter. Some things can clog your pores. Certainly, cocoa butter used too often without a clean face can be clogging, but not necessarily. Both my children in their teens and now they're in their 20s still use it. No problems. I do caution that some people can be allergic to these things that we use, but I also think that we are allergic to things that aren't organically produced and have preservatives. Frequently, we think we're allergic to something, and there's a hidden chemical in the thing we think we're allergic to, and that's really the thing we're allergic to. Ooh, sounds like Inception, layer on layer. So what I have here is a list of DIY everyday household items and foods that you can make at home without going out and purchasing bottles and cans like we do. And what I'm suggesting is, okay, don't do it with everything. Take your time, although the fires in Canada aren't waiting. But you might want to think, rather than going out and buying a thing of Coke or a bottle of lemonade, you make your own lemonade. Not that difficult. Oddly enough, when you make classic syrup, and this could be a fun thing that you do with your family, you can make your own lemonade rather than utilize, go out and buy another bottle. However, if you are going to purchase Coca-Cola lemonade, I ask that you only purchase things in glass and aluminum. They are the two items that even our recycler here in Yonkers, near the animal shelter, of course, I know where the animal shelter is, they say that those two items are the easiest for them to process. And those items go out. They use those. That glass, the more glass you use, the more they can reuse it, and they send it out to companies to use. So rather than getting plastic bottles of Coke, get the aluminum cans of Coke. Rather than getting plastic bottles of lemonade, make your own or get the glass bottles of lemonade. Sounds like a problem. Oh, they're very, very heavy. Get yourself a shopping cart or take a younger member of your family to the store. That's what I would suggest. Get someone to help you, because glass and aluminum are the easiest things to recycle, and that's what goes out. What they're finding in the ocean isn't glass and aluminum, because glass and aluminum get resold. They're easy to get rid of. It's plastic. I just watched a cleanup by an environmentally friendly company, 4 Oceans. That's the name of it, 4 Oceans, because they are working to clean up the ocean. There is a river in Brazil that is clogged up with tons of plastic that they had to get a backhoe in to clean out that section of the river. They did it, but we certainly don't need more plastic. The thing they're trying to do is recycle plastic and sell it back to the companies and say, okay, here, process. So I'll move on. You can make your own bread. You can make your own pasta. Or you could go to Arthur Avenue and go to Brigatti's or any of the local delis, the Italian delis who have it, buy bread and pasta that they make, because you don't have to get it in a plastic bag or container. You can bring your container to the store and purchase these things. So the next item is bar shampoo and bar conditioner. So the same process of using bar lotion on your arms, you would do the same thing with shampoo in your hair. That is one of the items I will be making, and Crestwood Library will be giving out to our patrons samples of bar shampoo and bar conditioner, because I would like to see everyone make the switch one step at a time, one patron at a time. So bar lotion we spoke about, and the other thing I'm making this week is bar bug repellent. I'm also going to be making bug spray. Jackie, isn't that dangerous? It's just a repellent. It's not DEET, because DEET is carcinogenic. Someone in a private message has asked me about, well, can we purchase mortadella and olive oil? Yes. If you're going to the deli for bread and pasta, go get a half a pound of mortadella. Okay. So what did Friends of Crestwood Library purchased non-MLM essential oils, meaning an MLM is a multi-level, I call it a multi-level monster. I think it's called something else, a multi-level, I forget what the M is. They fast produce essential oils. I'm looking to go more organic, not because organic essential oils matter, but because if you get indigenously created essential oils, you are supporting a marginalized community. I think that makes more sense. You're paying pretty much the same price. So I have citronella, cedarwood, and I can't say these things are, oh, they're so beautiful, like lilac. They're not. Cedarwood smells like cedarwood. It's like, oh, that smells like a pine tree. Citronella, that's like lemon doing 90 miles an hour. And then peppermint. So the recipe for bar bug repellent and for bug spray, but the spray includes witch hazel, which I don't know how to make yet. The bug repellent that's in the bar lotion bar form is the same kind of ingredients, including these essential oil, citronella, they're not fond of. So you can rub that on your skin. It's got coconut oil. You could use mango butter, beeswax, and what am I missing? Cocoa butter, beeswax, and coconut oil. And you put the essential oils into that mixture, and then you melt all the things down. Then you, as it comes off the stove, see on the right hand picture, there's my pot with all those ingredients. Ooh, fire it up. But if you notice, I have it on low, and I have it in a non-stick pan, which is an iron pot, but that could be problematic too. But anyway, we work with what we have as best as we have. I would prefer most of us utilizing not cast iron, stainless steel. And do yourself a favor, get rid of your aluminum pans. They leach into your food. Let's move on. So we'll be giving out the bug repellent as the summer wears on, probably by next week. So the last three things on the list are things that I threw in there because we can make these things easily. Wood butter, it's made with coconut oil and lots of beeswax. Now these ingredients in terms of their percentage are a little bit different. Some things have more beeswax, some things have more cocoa butter, some things I put in more coconut oil. So it's in proportion. Wood butter is great for your wooden spoons. So the wooden spoons that you use to stir up your stuff, you use the wood butter on a clean wooden spoon, you slather it on, you leave it like that, and then you go back an hour later and buff it up. And you get a lot more life out of your wooden spoons. I've gone over this before, but I think it bears repeating. So the other thing is making your own wood cleaner, which you do with vinegar and oil, avocado oil, and vinegar, oil, and something else, probably alcohol. But don't quote me on that. I have the ingredients for a wood cleaner. And then you can make your own dishwasher detergent here. Believe it or not, Crestwood owns this book, Simply Living Well. You can take it out. You can take it out from the library and read the ingredients. So in this case, you have a tablespoon of washing soda. Washing soda, what's that? We'll talk about that. Citric acid and 2 tablespoons of distilled white vinegar. Those things make the basis of some of the most clean, helpful, useful cleaners for around your house. Vinegar is amazing. So what I'm encouraging you all to do is take this book out and use it as a resource. It's not reference. You can check it out of the library. Simply Living Well by Julia Watkins. We have it. We have a few other things to make your own products. Before I move on for the big fancy schmancy thing, does anybody have any questions or anything they'd like to share other than deli meats? No questions? Okay. So I wanted to talk about beeswax a little bit because beeswax, we know, comes from bees. These are pictures that I've taken. And if you notice, the bee on the left is covered in pollen, and they will go back to whatever hive they have, and they use the pollen for food, and they create honey. They also pollinate other flowers. So that pollen on that bee, who is also collecting nectar, will go to making honey, beeswax. They'll pollinate, and we'll get more flowers. And the cycle begins again every spring, through the summer, through the fall, and then they go into their hibernation, and then they start up again in the spring. Without bees, we do not have a lot of stuff. We won't have flowers. We will not have honey. So what do we do? Does anybody have any suggestions about what we could do to help keep bees alive?
Plant bee-friendly flowers.
I knew you were going to do that. That's right. You plant bee-friendly flowers. Does anybody have any idea of what those flowers are? Echinacea is one. You know what I'm doing with my lawn? I'm getting rid of it. What am I getting rid of it with? Clover. Clover, during droughty weather, stays green when your grass turns brown. As it flowers, the bees go to the clover. That's their favorite thing to gather, especially honeybees. That's their favorite thing. But what's special about clover? Clover pulls nitrogen out of the air all by itself, and you don't have to feed it. Grass requires you to give it nitrogen. So we're paying our gardeners to feed grass because grass just the kind of grass that we grow around here just is useless. It has to be baby. Clover isn't. Clover's a real strong thing. Any other flowers you would like to mention? David McLean suggested maybe less pesticide. Yes, less pesticides, a lot less pesticides, because most of them, 98% of pesticides out there have been proven to be carcinogenic. I'm going to move on. Any other comments? Okay. Okay. The chemistry of beeswax. Now I'm going to get all technical. Get your science brains on. You're going to like this. Maybe not. But the chemistry of beeswax. What are we looking at? That is an ancient honeypot. Ancient, like at least 1,000 years. Found in Israel. At the bottom of that honeypot is still usable honey. And the beeswax is still, that honeycomb is still usable. They have found in several places in the Middle East, in places in Europe, I think, and beyond that, I'm not going to try to guess. So I'm going to explain it. Beeswax is mainly esters of fatty acids and long chain alcohols. Woo! What's an ester? Basically, an ester is it's a compound, and it's an acid, not the kind of acid that burns your skin. Things are either acid or base, it doesn't matter why. But esters are part of the thing that gives things aroma. So I don't know if you've smelled honey, or if you've smelled beeswax, or if you smell coconut oil, right? And there are esters in these things that have scent. Okay, but both of these things, fatty acids and long chain alcohols, are extremely hydrating for the skin. And I was getting fancy pantsy with the that C15, H31, CO2, C30, H61. I was getting very fancy. That's just its chemical name. So that's beeswax in chemical terms. And we can go over that. The test is at the end. Okay, just kidding. So I'm going to get away from beeswax for a little bit because we know that it lasts, very hydrating. Some people claim that beeswax has healing properties. It's got some, but it's very good as a base for lotion because it's extremely hydrating. Does anyone know what that thing is? What is that thing? Oh, I see chats. Okay. Does it clog pores? Beeswax? No. Obviously, if you cover yourself in 2 inches thick of beeswax, I can't say you'll be breathing. So it's all in amounts. So no, I'm going to answer it that way. But if you were to slather your face in 2 inches and cover your mouth and nose in 2 inches of beeswax, you wouldn't last very long. So yeah, it's not very porous, but it is extremely hydrating. Do we know what this is? Anybody? Those are cocoa pods from a cocoa tree, meaning the actual thing that we use to make chocolate, our favorite thing, my favorite thing in the world. Cocoa butter is the other thing that is in, that's in the lotions and the shampoos and things that we use. Now, I don't think cocoa butter is in shampoo though, because it would flatten your hair out. So scratch that for the shampoo, but there's definitely cocoa butter in lotion. And I will be putting it in the bug repellent. So what's in cocoa butter? Something called palmitic acid and also stearic acid. And if you ever look on the back of your lotion bottles, you will sometimes see the word stearic or a version of stearic, S-T-E-A-R, and you'll see palm. Sometimes they say palm oil. Just so you know, palm oil is not just found in the palm, right? It is also found in, it's found in palm oil, but it's also found in cocoa butter. And I meant to put cocoa butter at the bottom, but it is also found in breast milk. So palmitic acid is in many things that are hydrating and nutritious. We object to palm oil because of the way it is harvested, which is why I always go for things that are harvested in an ethical, something that is ethically sourced. Will those things be a little more expensive? Yes, but these are also companies who will plant more cocoa trees, plant more coconut trees. They will take care of them. They will not pick things till the rest of the environment cannot benefit, like animals and insects, because we need, whether or not we like our animals or insects out in the wild, we need them. And I will get in a plug for bats, because let's get away from cocoa butter for a minute. Without these things that we consider pests, we would be overrun with mosquitoes. Bats take care of mosquitoes. We would be overrun with damaging insects without the birds that we have, which is why we should not be using pesticides. So what's in cocoa butter is oleic acid, which is what you also find in what other thing? Where do we find oleic anything? What oil do we all like to cook with, or sort of like to cook with? Olive oil. Thank you, Angela. Angela said olive oil, so she got to it before I did. I was reading out her answer because that's a good oil for you. It is still a fat. It can still be not good in, a large abundance, but it's a better fat for you in that it is monounsaturated. But these 3 fatty acids make up the basis for the soaps and lotions that we go over. So before I move on, any questions? Oh, I think we're at the end. Oh, yeah, that was my last. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. That was my last. That was my last slide. So I want to invite you to unmute yourself and tell me what you think. And if you feel that you would be ready to try anything like this. Because the thing that I'm interested in is not what we can't do. I'm more interested in what we can do. What can we do? What are you capable of doing in order to make choices that are less polluting for you, less toxic for your family and yourself, for your skin, your stomach, whatever. And which is why I'm offering these things. So I want to talk about a couple of other things, because we do need to talk about what books are out there, books that we have in the library. I know that we have Climate Crisis and the Green New Deal, which discusses in a philosophical, analytic way what this means, what and why so many people either deny it or trust it wholesale. Being the change and live well and spark climate revolution. That's a good book because it encourages people to investigate ways in which you can live in a different way. You just have to find out about it. You have to go out and investigate. And then the next thing, and I like this book, I think we have this one at we have a version, which leads me to my next discussion. How many of you have noticed all of the things growing in our raised bed outside? Has any of you seen our raised bed? Well, we have, Julie has. So we have a bunch of things growing in the raised bed, and we're going to be harvesting some next Wednesday at 3 o'clock during Green Thumb Gardening. I have basil that I'm going to have to chop down a little bit. I'm going to have to give it a good trim. And what's shooting out of the basil are the flowers, and in the flowers are the seeds. So we have, we have basil we need to harvest. And that's what I like about this book, right? Which is why I want you to go to the library and take out some of the books that are about kitchen gardens, take out some of the books that are about growing. We have a whole section in the 600s to the right, or actually if you're facing the desks, it's to the left. Thank you, Z. That's a picture. That is an early picture of our garden. That was when it was sort of like on the rise. Oh, that's me. Okay, wait, stop. Go back one. Thank you. That's me with the insane look on my face. I'm holding, this is a good one. What I'm holding in my hand there in that picture is the result of taking a scallion. And how many of you use scallions? I know some of you use scallions and you're cooking. I took a scallion that I bought at the store, cut it, used it, and then stuck the bottom part, because I didn't cut off the bottom, and so that it would root. So that corner thing that I'm holding that has all those big thick shoots, that's a scallion. Those are scallions, and they regrew themselves. And you can do that with vegetables that you buy from the grocery store. One of the places I like is in Eastchester. He's nothing but vegetables and fruit, some organic. If you go also, what's in front where it says Crestwood basil, that thing has doubled in size. I call it the beast that ate Bayonne. Do we have another picture? The garden, I don't have a lot of pictures at the ready. That is Morning Glories, and that's turned into a monster, and it's climbed up that pole the whole way. Very soon, we will be seeing those beautiful blue blossoms. I did that so we look extra special. Okay, at Crestwood. What's next? Do we have another one? That's the nasturtium, and that I want to give at least half of it out. That you put in your lettuce. You put in a salad, flowers and all. Nasturtiums are edible as is, flowers and all, with a little dressing. Okay, and that's part of what we're going to start to harvest next week. Can we see? Do you have another slide? Oh no. Yes, that's the nasturtium again. And they all took, now this is arugula, and it didn't do so well. It went to seed very quickly. I suspect next year we'll do better with that. So yes, we could take, yes. And this, thank you, Z. This is our pollinator garden. And this is what I'm talking about. I forget his name. Z, what is his name? The gentleman from Yonkers. I forgot. Andrew. So he's at Crestwood Library. Our pollinator garden is treated very specially by Yonkers. We have our own watering system. They come to water it and take care of it because Crestwood, Z, is taking care of the pollinators, because that is what helps the flowers to grow. It's very basic. It's not a difficult formula. When you kill the bugs, you're going to be killing vegetables. God, I sound so grim. How about we don't kill the bugs and we just use some of my repellent? Okay. And even if you don't want to use the repellent I give out, so go buy other ones. That's fine. But it's better that we have this pollinator garden. So Z has switched to the potatoes. These are potatoes that I grew in a bag. I was given lots of support from Yonkers and Friends of Crestwood Library, and Nork was very encouraging. We took little baby potato seeds and planted them in the bags and given them lots of water and love. And we will be harvesting, that's a potato flower, by the way. We'll be harvesting them sometime in late October. I'll probably dig into, take a look and see how they're doing. Not yet, though. I want to leave them alone. Potatoes, I feel growing potatoes in a bag is probably the best way to combat food insecurity. And it's easy. You don't even need a lot of land. You just need dirt. It's a felt bag and you just keep it outside. I've suggested that people with terraces living in apartments, you can grow potatoes. You could also grow chives in a bag. Shocking. So is there any other questions at this point? That's the garden early, but that picture there are Z's cucumbers. We're growing cucumbers. The cucumbers went crazy. That's a picture of the cucumbers as they look last week. We staked them up because they're starting to trail all over the garden. And Karina helped me stake them up because they are turning into monsters, and that's the bean. We planted beans just to experiment, and that's what we got. We got beans. And all you have to do is just give a little compost, give some peat, and no dirt. These are the potatoes in the bags when we started. So something so small, and there are our daffodils, because we also have beautiful flowers. We don't just grow food, we grow flowers as well, which some of them on next Wednesday, we will be harvesting some flowers, not a lot though. We like to leave some behind for the garden. So little flowers, a few. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, does anybody have any suggestions about what we would like to focus on next month? Not that I need suggestions, because I could come up with 9,000 things. We'll probably be speaking about harvesting and food waste. August is a good time for that. August, September, and October are great times to speak about harvesting and avoiding food waste, which is a very difficult thing. How many times have you put things in the refrigerator and they sat there and became a biological weapon? So we kind of want to avoid that. So I will be speaking about, we will have the Green Thumb Gardening on next Wednesday. And today, please come for the art program. It's art with Erica? No, Say.
Today is Say.
Art with Say with the fireworks, Cityscape fireworks. So please join us at 4 o'clock. Get on the YPL website, or if Z out to, yes.
What is the next date for Sustainable You?
The next date is, I love how I'm trying to play this off like I know. I'm like, oh yes.
I tried to look on my calendar, but I don't see it. That's why.
No, it isn't on the calendar, but I'm generally the second week. So can we say August 9th? Is that okay with you and Z?
I'm away, but it's okay with me.
Okay.
August 9th sounds good. Whatever works for our
Works for
community.
us.
We want to get the most people who can come to benefit from this experience. So, we'll have the revised calendar and the final calendar for August soon.
Very
So
soon.
put it on our website, right? www.ypl.org, because like last minute changes, all sorts of stuff,
Yes.
wonderful ideas and things are all there, including our YouTube channel where recordings of past sustainable use are are housed, as well as our fitness Zooms and much, much more. So we're
And
really
please,
grateful.
please join us for our Yam walks. Yonkers on the move. I think when it's excessively hot, we might be canceling, but in general, we walk at 5:15. And what I would like to encourage everyone who will come for the walks, which I'm sure some of you out there will, please bring your own water bottle. We do provide them. We do provide you with water, but I'd like to see everyone bring their own water bottle. That would be great. And I should do what I say too. You don't have to be perfect. Good enough is good enough. You know, it's like, I'm not a vegan, but I avoid meat as much as possible. So it's sometimes you have to do as much as you can, but you have to start somewhere. And I say, try the bar shampoo when you get it, okay? And I will give you out conditioner as well. Okay, so I want to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you for joining.